Welcome to Cozy Reading Club, the podcast where we read the book and tell you about it so you don't have to. Now, if you remember our last deep dive, things were pretty intense.
Mm-hmm.
The truce for that Menelaus Paris duel totally shattered. Athena steps in. Pandarus takes a shot at Menelaus.
Right, chaos, basically. Even though Menelaus wasn't, fatally wounded, the fighting just exploded again.
Exactly. And Book 2 finished with this huge mustering, the whole Greek army ready to go.
Yeah, and that's where we pick up, diving straight into Book 6 of the Iliad. We're calling this one Heroes and Homes.
Heroes and Homes. I like that. Why that title?
Well, because it really shifts focus, doesn't it? We still have the massive battle raging, but we zoom in, we get these really personal looks at the key figures, what they're fighting for back home. The stakes feel much more intimate.
Okay, gotcha. So where does Book 6 actually kick off? I remember something about the gods.
You got it. Straight back to Olympus, or near it anyway. Apollo and Athena having another little chat.
Scheming again. What's their plan this time?
Well, it's interesting. They seem to agree, maybe, that the carnage needs a bit of structure, or at least a change of pace. Apollo suggests Hector should challenge one specific Greek hero to single combat.
Like, pause the main battle for a duel.
Pretty much. Focus things down to one key fight. And it's Apollo's idea, which Athena seems to go along with.
And how does that idea get from the gods down to the battlefield?
Through Helenus. He's the prophet, Priam's son. He gets this divine inspiration, and tells Hector, hey, you should challenge one of their best guys.
So the gods plant the idea, Helenus delivers the message, shows how linked everything is.
Absolutely. But while that's developing, we get this other scene, completely different vibe. Iris goes to find Helen.
Oh, right. And Iris is disguised, isn't she?
Yeah, as Laodice, one of Priam's daughters. And she finds Helen doing what? Weaving?
Leaving a tapestry.
Yeah.
Of the war itself. That's kind of heavy.
It is, isn't it? Like she's creating this image of the destruction she caused, maybe. Or just processing it. Hard to say for sure.
And Iris tells her about the original duel, the one between Paris and Menelaus, and says she should go watch.
Not quite. Iris tells her about the upcoming single combat that Hector's about to propose, spurred by the gods, and urges her to go see the heroes gather. The earlier duel was already broken up.
Ah, right. So Helen heads to the Scaean gates, the big main gate.
Yep, and who's already there? Priam and the other Trojan elders, watching the fighting.
So Helen joins the old men on the walls. What happens then?
Well, Priam, seeing all these Greek warriors down below, asks Helen, because she obviously knows them, who's who.
Like a spotter's guide.
Sort of. She points out the big names: Agamemnon, the king; Odysseus, the clever one; Ajax, the big guy.
Must have been strange for her, identifying the men fighting because of her.
You'd think so. And Priam, listening to her, he starts marveling at just how huge the Greek army is. He even mentions a time he saw a big army in Phrygia, but says this is way bigger.
Sounds like he's maybe starting to feel the pressure. A bit of dread creeping in.
Perhaps. It certainly sets a grand scale before we zoom back in on the action.
Which brings us to Hector, making his big challenge, right? Inspired by Helenus.
Exactly. He steps out and proposes this single combat, one-on-one.
How do the Greeks take that? Are they up for it?
Oh, absolutely. Total warrior culture response. 9 of their best heroes immediately step forward, like, pick me, pick me.
9 volunteers. Who gets the lucky ticket?
They draw lots, standard procedure, and the lot falls to Ajax Telamon. Big Ajax.
Okay, Ajax versus Hector, that's a main event fight right there.
Definitely. 2 absolute powerhouses. They start getting ready, arming up.
But then Priam steps in again.
Yeah.
Now.
Well, maybe seeing the intensity or just wanting to manage things, Priam calls out for a truce. Just for the day, so this duel can happen without the whole battle raging around them.
Makes sense. And do they actually fight?
They start to. They clash, but then the heralds step in. Night's falling, time's up for the day.
So the duel gets cut short by sunset.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But then something really interesting happens.
Oh.
Hector and Ajax, even though they were just trying to kill each other, they exchange gifts as a sign of respect.
No way. After all that, what do they give?
Hector gives Ajax his sword, silver-studded, fancy sheath and all, and Ajax gives Hector his war belt, like a mark of mutual warrior esteem.
Wow. Even in the middle of this brutal war, they still have that code.
It's a striking moment. Anyway, fighting's done for the day, truce is on, so Hector heads back into Troy.
What's the mood like when he gets back?
Well, the women of Troy greet him, offering wine, trying to help him relax, show support.
Does he take it? Must be exhausted.
Nope. He actually refuses. He says he's worried it'll weaken him, make him lose his strength. Plus, he feels he can't really pray properly if he's just drunk wine. His mind is totally on the war, on protecting the city.
Duty first. What does he tell the women then?
He tells them to pray. Specifically, gather together and pray to Athena. Ask her for help. He also wants them to make a special offering.
An offering? Like
That-
what?
He goes to find his mother, Hecuba. She also offers him wine. Same reaction from Hector. Polite refusal. Gotta stay sharp.
Right.
Then he asks her to gather the noblewomen and take the most beautiful robe they have, like a really valuable one, up to Athena's temple.
As a gift to try and win her favor.
Exactly. The prayer is specific too. Please, Athena, keep Diomedes away from our walls. Diomedes has been tearing through the Trojan ranks, you see.
Ah, so they're trying to neutralize a specific major threat. Very strategic praying.
You could say that. So the women do it. They have this solemn procession, take the best robe, lay it on the statue's knees, and pray really hard.
Does it work? Does Athena listen?
Nope, flat out rejection. Homer says Athena turned her head away. Their prayers aren't answered.
Ouch, that's got to be demoralizing after all that effort.
Definitely. A bad omen, maybe? So after that, Hector needs to find his brother.
Paris. Where's he been all this time?
Well, that's what Hector wants to know. He finds him back in his rooms, polishing his armor.
Polishing his armor. While his brother's ranging duels and his city's praying for deliverance.
Yep. And Helen's just sitting there with her maids nearby. Hector is, let's just say, not happy.
I bet. Does he let Paris have it?
Oh, yeah. He really tears into him, calls him out basically for slacking off, for abandoning the fight while others are dining. A pretty harsh rebuke.
Does Paris even react or just keep polishing?
Oh, no. He seems to take it on board this time. He actually agrees with Hector, says he'll get ready and join the battle soon. Maybe the shame finally got to him, or just Hector's anger.
About time. Okay, so Hector's dealt with Paris. Where does he go next?
He heads home, looking for his wife, Andromache, and his son.
The calm before returning to the storm.
Sort of. But when he gets to his house, she's not there.
Oh, where is she?
He asks the maids, and they tell him she was so worried, so terrified the Greeks were winning, that she ran up to the great tower of Ilion, the main watchtower on the city walls, with their son, Astyanax.
She went up to the walls to watch. Out of fear.
Yeah, fear for Hector, fear for Troy. So Hector heads up there to find her. And this is the scene everyone remembers from Book 6.
Right, the big emotional moment. Hector finds Andromache and Astyanax on the tower.
Right.
What does she say to him?
She's heartbroken. She basically grabs his hand and pleads with him, don't go back out there. Stay here on the walls. Organize the defense from safety. Don't risk getting killed.
She's terrified of losing him.
Completely. And she reminds him why. She says, you're all I have left. She tells him how Achilles killed her father, Aetation, and all 7 of her brothers in one raid. Her mother was captured and then died later. Hector is literally her father, mother, brother, everything now.
Oh, man. That's a devastating context.
Yeah.
How can he even respond to that?
It's tough. He listens. He clearly feels her pain. He tells her, I worry about all this too. He knows exactly what will happen to her in Astyanax if Troy falls slavery, suffering. He worries about her fate more than his own death.
But there's always a but with Hector, isn't there?
There is. He says despite all that, he just can't hide from the fight. His sense of honor, his duty to the Trojans, the fear of being called a coward, it's too strong. He has to fight out front where the glory and the danger is. He feels he owes it to his people, to his ancestors.
Duty versus love. The classic conflict.
Absolutely. And then comes that little moment with their son, Astyanax.
The helmet part.
Yeah. Hector, still wearing his big bronze horsehair-crested helmet, reaches out to hold his son. But the baby gets scared. He sees this terrifying shiny thing with plumes nodding, and he cries, shrinks back against his nurse.
Oh, poor kid. And poor Hector.
It's incredibly humanizing, isn't it? So Hector, he takes off the helmet, sets it on the ground, then he scoops up Astyanax, kisses him, cuddles him.
It's just a dad for a second.
Exactly. And he says a prayer over him to Zeus and the other gods, asking them to let his son grow up to be a great leader, even greater than himself. Someone people will point to and say, he's much better than his father was.
Wow, that's incredibly moving. Wishing greatness for his son, even knowing his own likely fate.
It really is. It shows his hopes for the future, even amidst all the doom.
So, after that incredibly tender moment, what's the final word? Does he stay?
No. Duty calls. He gently gives the baby back to Andromache, who's weeping, but also sort of smiling through her tears. He tells her basically, go home, tend to your work, the loom, the household, War is men's business, my business.
A harsh reality of their world, I guess,
Yeah.
separating the spheres like that.
It is, and it's a sorrowful farewell. He knows the risks, she knows the risks. He puts his terrifying helmet back on.
And then he just leaves her there.
Pretty much. He starts heading back towards the gates, ready for battle. And just then,
Let me guess. Paris finally shows up.
bingo! All shined up in his armor, looking ready to go, he catches up to Hector.
So the two brothers head back out together.
Yep. Leaving the tears and fears on the tower behind them, heading back into the thick of it.
And so, with Hector having faced his deepest fears and reaffirmed his commitment, and Paris finally returning to the fray, one has to wonder, will their combined presence provide the Trojans with the strength they desperately need? Or are their personal struggles simply a prelude to even greater tragedies on the battlefield? This was Cozy Reading Club, the podcast where we read the book and tell you about it so you don't have to. If you like this series, we invite you to take a look at other series in our podcast and leave a nice review on the platform you are listening this on.